Alright guys, so this is going to be our Blood Bowl 2 class. I am going to be working with another expert coach. We are going to be teaching a relatively newer player how to play. We are going to be playing with Asteflix, who wants to learn how to play a passy team against a bashier team, so that is what we are going to be working with. And let me unmute them so I can tell everyone that we're here. Okay, so I've unmuted everyone. Let me introduce people. I'm Fake Life. I'm running the stream. I've been playing Blood Bowl for a little over 2 years at this point, and I'm joined by Rev, who is the Australian you are going to hear.
Hello.
He's been playing Blood Bowl for, I think he said, like 14 years, including tabletop. So far more than I have.
Yeah, on and off, but yes, it's
Quite
early 2000s. Yeah.
And Asteflix is our newer coach. You can say hello.
Hello.
Who's probably played somewhere about 30 or so games of Blood Bowl, is used to the UI and stuff, so we don't have to worry about that, but wants to know how to play passy teams against the bashier teams, and that's the plan. So we have a pretty passy human team set up here, and we're going to be playing against Orcs and hoping that when we hit this next button, we can set the game to 4-minute turns, because if not, we will be talking very, very quickly. Yeah, there it is. It's down underneath the stadium. Set it to 4-minute turns. So there will be no inducements. We are nice and even now.
Done.
So the lineup that Asteflix is going to be using is humans with 1 thrower, 2 catchers, 4 blitzers, and 4 rerolls. The idea is kind of to simulate the Elfie team the best we can. A straight up, I want to pass and score. And that's not a completely unreasonable human lineup, but if I were going to play it like long term, I'd just go ahead and get the Apothecary and not the 4th reroll, I think.
Okay.
So you're choosing whether to attack or defend, and we've been over this, but as the passy team, I like defending because it guarantees there will be 1 defense on the pitch where you have all of your players on, which helps a ton.
Yes, I agree.
And he's going to go on a super standard formation. We'll let Rev talk.
The flip side to that, and it's not necessarily right or wrong, and I do prefer the defensive option myself, but I don't think it's outside the scope of a beginner coach because different coaches pick up offense versus defense better, is the idea that you'll have the most number of pieces to control the clock on an offensive drive at the start. So you want to be aiming for the 2-1 grind, which we will cover shortly.
Yeah.
Even as elves, probably in the early stages at least, you'll be aiming for the 2-1 grind. So having all of your pieces available to you allows you to
Move
a
that
better
little
chance of being able
pyramid
to
up
stall it out.
1 square.
What?
Your little pyramids are back a square from where they could be, which isn't necessarily a bad formation or anything, but you can safely move them up. Like this brick of 4 players over here on the right side, on your left up a square, and same thing. Like, I'm Orcs, I'm not going to be able to run around your defense pretty much no matter what I do, unless I take several turns to do it. Against a super defensive team, having players, like against, not super defensive, but a Skaven team or something fast, having players a little further back is not unreasonable. Against Orcs, there's not too much of a point.
And that's going to be one of your key strengths as this elf stand-in team here, or any high movement team, any high agility team, is essentially leveraging your advantage, which is going to be the movement and agility over, say, the Orcs, which is going to be raw strength.
I'm gonna say a thing that Kenor already said, but having a grid would be so much better.
Yeah,
Oh,
agreed.
absolutely.
I would love to have a grid. So, we got in this, in this redo of the game, we have a catcher in the back here, and a thrower in the back, and a catcher. and you see they're all in the back of the formation, that's a good place to be because they're a little more obnoxious to do nasty things to, and those are the pieces that do not have defensive skills and G badly wants to perfect. So
And
that's where we want that to be.
Your characters are also faster, so they're better off out in the wide zones, because then that way, no matter which way your opponent shapes with his offense, they're better able to reposition to that particular spot.
So I'm keeping one player back again, just in case the kickoff gets crazy, and I really need to go hardcore defensive on it, just in case that goes nuts. Other than that, I'm going to be getting up in his face and trying to blitz players down, and generally playing a slow bashy team as best I can. And we'll see what Blood Bowl gives us in terms of dice to make this a good teaching session. We're already in a blizzard, so that's a thing we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
GFIs are very risky now, which is maybe for the better for you in the long term, because you have more movement than me, and there's a better chance I'm going to need to make GFIs to catch up with your guys, so this could be good weather. Of course, we roll a 7, we get something completely different.
Or you get something like 3 KOs in the first half and there is no contest anymore.
Well, even then, we'll teach you what to do in those situations, and it's not ideal, but we will make the best of it.
Well, not ideal,
Does
it's
it
actually
contain,
realistic.
It's
curling
realistic,
up in
and it's a good thing to
ball and
teach.
crying?
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm setup, since I think we're done talking, and we'll see what happens. So we're going to get kicked off to here, as the Orc team is going to get kicked somewhere in the center of the pitch, presumably. And an extra reroll.
Yay, 5th reroll.
So you've got like a
It's
billion
actually-
rerolls because of our
Yep.
our strange team setup we had to do here. So this is very far back, and my thrower cannot get terribly far with the ball, so I'm going to just put a guy back here to defend, and we're going to have to be a little careful advancing this, because one of the advantages you're going to have over me is your speed, and we're going to be talking briefly about the tactic of keeping the ball out of a cage, because that is an option you are going to have here because the kick was so deep. So I am going to try to be big and mean and bashy as best I can. We'll see if Blood Bowl wants to help out. I'm even going to follow up and keep these players based because I don't like them much. But pretty much what I'm going to want to start with as the Orcs is I'm going to get my free tackles in, get my blitz in, and then we're going to see what we can do to defend this ball, because that's actually going to be a bit of an issue for me, for reasons we're going to discuss. So I'm just going to go for the easy blitz here. We will use a reroll on that for obvious reasons. And unfortunately,
Nice
this
start.
lineup does not allow free rerolls anymore, like it did in Blood Bowl 1 and in general tabletop. So I have 2 of them. I'm going to move this player here for reasons we are about to discuss. And my Black Orc is going to be obnoxious and get in the face of this thrower here. And I'm going to pull some players back. We'll start with 1 for now, and I will otherwise base dudes and be annoying. So, just to talk about one option that you will have on your turn, I'm going to attempt to pick up this ball in just a second. Because I cannot put this ball in a nice safe cage, you'll see that all of the players I have in the backfield are a million miles away from this wonderful wall of humongous green orcs that I would love to get surrounding the ball. So one of the options you're going to have, which we're going to talk about, and I'm probably going to have you do, is trying to harass this ball carrier in the backfield, running players around this big defense, and keep this ball from getting into a nice safe cage. I think that's going to be our first lesson of the day. And Rev can tell me if I'm out of place, but that's what I would do in this position.
Absolutely. The only caveat to that being that you have to make sure that you don't overcommit to something like this. Is one of the
True.
biggest mistakes that newer coaches will make employing a defense tactic like this. They'll actually overcommit, get punched down and find themselves outstrengthed because you're already outstrengthed up front. So if you send half your team into the back and then Fake manages to block your players away and he can meet up with the front line, you'll just get crushed. You won't be able to put up a solid defense. So it's
going to be maybe 1 to 3 players are going to run back through depending, and you're just going to not go too overboard on the other stuff.
Absolutely.
So just to discuss the turn that's coming up here as I pick up this ball. I'm going to pick it up as if the game decides it wants me to. It won't. My reroll's gone. That's even more tragic for me, but it's not the end of the world. So you have 2 free blocks with an assist, which you can take over on what is your right side, is my left side, these 2 blitzers here. But the first thing you always want to do, of course, is stand up these players that are not going to be doing anything functional. Keep these big black orcs tied up and not moving anywhere useful. So, in your position, I would be saying take these freebie blocks I've given you. And on the other side of the pitch where you have this catcher Apollo and this blitzer Ares, for example, you may end up like blitzing down this blitzer or pushing him out of the way and running these 2 players kind of down the pitch to threaten the ball carrier.
Okay.
So because once this ball gets in a cage, life is horrible for you. It's not the end of the world, you can still screen me, but once it gets there, it's bad. But a deep kick means you have this chance to stop this from happening.
I would actually attack it slightly different.
Okay.
In that I would probably take the block that you've taken over there. Then I would run your catcher around, on the, what will be your your left-hand side, sorry.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Nice.
That's handy. That's absolutely excellent.
Well,
so you would run
this catcher here.
You would run your catcher Apollo on the left-hand side around, down the sideline and around the blitzer. Yes. And then use your other your blitzer Ares to base
3 moves now, right?
That blitzer. You've then removed him and got the catcher downfield to apply pressure. And then I'd take your other blitzer over here on the right-hand side and use him to blitz number 5 off your other blitzer. Don't follow up, and then run down to apply pressure again, and then you've left Poseidon unmarked. He can then move down as well.
So yeah. So let's break that down. First, Apollo is going to run down the pitch to harass me.
Stand 2 squares below the blitzer, number 6.
You don't need to take the dodge, just like go
around. Just
go around me without a dodge. We don't like rolling dice.
I have this somewhat unusual problem where I cannot unselect my stuff.
You just right-click a couple of times in a few different places, just don't click in the same place twice.
I assume you're using Blood Bowl 2 controls.
Yeah, well, I've tried putting it on Blood Bowl 1, but it always seems to revert to Blood Bowl 2.
Yeah, it's fine. Try right-click to unselect and see if it lets you do stuff. Yeah, just run him down the sideline, like, that's totally fine. Right there. And you were thinking have this blitzer Ares tie up the blitzer, or...
Yep.
Yeah, Ares just ties up my blitzer here, Ephemeral Ed. Yep, perfect. And now over here on what is your right side of the screen, you're going to blitz through with Poseidon, this blitzer here. Or one of these guys is going to blitz. Okay, no, Hephaestus does.
The unmarked blitzer is
that makes more sense, yeah.
Yep, to blitz diagonally in and push the line or the blitzer in towards the center of the field and not diagonally and not follow up. So that Poseidon is then unmarked.
Both of them can follow in theory if they want to. Yep. Yeah, so do that blitz, like, you don't even need to do that. You can just go directly at him. Push him diagonally inwards towards the middle of the pitch when you blitz him with Estus, and don't follow up, and both of these guys can just plow down the pitch.
I hate Blood Bowl 2 controls. I really do.
Experiences with Strip Door League for spinning, it is lower level than NAF in my experience. So you're going to take the push and not follow up. push him diagonally inwards, yep. And just run these two guys down the pitch. And in theory, before all of this stuff had happened, you have one blitzer that's still down that ideally you would have wanted to figure out what exactly you want to do with him first.
Oh, okay.
And that blitzer Poseidon can actually base the line orc, which isn't a bad idea either, potentially. You don't do it now, but yes, potentially that's an option to consider basing that line orc.
And
so that
Hades can blitz
cage.
this blitzer here. Yeah, that's actually real annoying for me. And he's...
Do I try and dodge out my thrower?
You can try and dodge your thrower if you want to. It's not... I suppose you could even reroll it if you cared to, because you got 5. Yeah, that's probably fine. Yep. And that'll be the end of your turn. And so this is a real rough position for me, just because of the number of players I have tied up, and I'm going to have to kind of...
knocked out on turn 1.
And we did lose one, which is really unfortunate. So I'm going to take all the free pieces that I do have, which is not much, and we're going to try and get into a better defensive situation. Because this ball is not safe by any stretch of the imagination. And the blizzard actually really hurts me here right now, because I would love to be able to take one of these black orcs and maybe make a couple of GFIs back down the pitch, but that's real ugly right now.
There's something else to consider as well. You just mentioned it, the blizzard. I wouldn't advocate a strategy like this when you're so badly outstrengthed. Committing the 3, I'd probably only commit the 2, and not even perhaps as deep, just enough to threaten the possibility to force fake to make sure that he puts it back. But with the blizzard, you've actually got a legitimate chance of getting a hold of that ball because you're so much faster than him. And GFIs are that much more dangerous.
So I'm going to try and push players out of the way diagonally here. The idea is going to be that I want to get one of these black orcs free to do something useful. And I even botched that. But we can save it in another way.
Good job.
These things happen. And we'll blow our last reroll.
Best job.
Yeah. If I don't get to pick up the ball, that's going to be tragic, but at least it is in the tackle zone of 2 players, so we'll be real careful.
Depending on scatter.
Depending on scatter. That's true. So, I made life a little bit harder on myself by going in the wrong direction, but I still managed to free up one of my black orcs who's going to try to base up these guys and be obnoxious like that. And now I'm going to try to pick up this ball. It is not something I feel terribly comfortable about, but I really don't have many options here. And I can't even really form a good 4-post cage yet, because I don't have the players. So I'm just going to take this lineman here, and let's see. You have a blitzer here, you have a catcher here. I'm actually going to put it over here on the same side as this blitzer, because he's the piece that scares me. If your catcher wants to 2-die uphill me, I'll say, fine, I'll deal with it. And now I'm actually kind of forced to take Fleeting Freddy here, and I'm going to try a dodge with him, because I need more pieces back here very badly. And he is not functional right now next to this blitzer of yours. So I'm going to try and do a dodge. It's 2 out of 3 anyway, so that's pretty reasonable. And we're going to see if we can base this catcher. Nope. I'm not surprised that didn't work. It would have been nice to have, but I don't. So okay, now that it's your turn, you've got some options here to... You want to keep my ball carrier kind of tied up. This cage is still unsafe. If I get one more turn, the ball is probably going to end up in a safe cage.
Should I try and get my players that can 2-die block your black orc?
You can take a 2-die block on a black orc.
It wouldn't be my priority right now. Honestly,
yeah.
You've got more important things to do right now. In fact, probably the first thing I'd be doing is taking your free movements. Obviously, that's good practice. So I'd probably be taking Hades, your number 1, to tie up the blitzer that's already tied up, because we don't want that guy moving. Because you're going to be doing your absolute damnedest to get a blitz on the ball carrier.
Yeah, the goal right now is to blitz ball carrier.
Otherwise, actually, the better option if we don't actually have anyone else. So instead, you're actually going to take, I would say, Hades and put him on Perishable Paul, number 5, to remove that assist, because that's the side you're going to be blitzing from.
Yeah, put him on my cage piece here. And that's going to eat up this assist. Because I left a hole here, that's where the blitz is coming.
Absolutely.
And now,
what I would
Apollo
do would be
can...
something like move my Ares to assist, and my blitzer to assist and my Ares to block.
Move your catcher to assist.
Yeah, your catcher would assist, so he'd go and stand down where Fake's cage post should be, and then you would dodge away your blitzer Ares, which is not particularly safe here as humans, but as elves it would be a 4+, and you'd have the reroll for it, and you would, yes, blitz straight in onto that ball carrier.
And we're going to get it. So that's what you want. Either one of those is fine. Put the both down or the defender down. Obviously, I don't have skills for it. You can follow up. Following up makes sure that all my players are in the tackle zone and it's harder to pick up the ball.
Okay.
Okay, so now there's the ball, and that's very reachable because you can use Dionysus here to tie up this or give another assist on Black Orc down here, Temporary Ted. And you can push him out of the way with that guy.
Hephaestus.
Yep. And not following up makes a lot of sense there because he's already tied up by this crummy lineman we don't care about. And yeah, you could actually just legitimately try to pick up this ball now and be real annoying for me. And remember, we are in Blizzard, so don't just make GFIs without thinking about it. But now, so you haven't used any rerolls yet, so let's talk about this for a second. Because these two GFIs are 2 out of 3 each. Let's not do the blocks yet. Let's talk about these GFIs for a sec. These are 2 out of 3, and you do have a reroll. I think it's not actually unreasonable for you to try and score, because you haven't used your reroll yet.
Okay,
I think
what do you
the
think,
other
Raph?
option would... well, the other option is here. Let's have a quick look at how can he actually get that ball back this turn, because you want to...
Well,
we're quite okay with stall.
He took the GFIs because I told him to.
No, that's perfectly understandable. And the dead player is dead. Blood Bowl gonna troll.
Blood Bowl trolled us very hard.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Those GFIs, that first GFI was an 8 out of 9 chance of working, and it didn't. So Blood Bowl gonna troll us.
It's actually... Now, the point I was going to make was that it's actually correct to make the GFIs, but the reason it is correct is because you can actually block an Orc free and at least get a 1-die blitz on that ball. With a GFI, you actually could have got a 2-die blitz, which I think would have been also probably worth it given the situation.
So, like, this is still not an amazing position for me. Because the,
absolutely not.
Like, this is not a ball I'm going to safely get into a cage. Once again, there's nothing I can do about that.
Now, if there's a negative to take from this as the humans, you've got the 3 Black Orcs tied up, which is great, but you're using 4 pieces to do it. And you've still got this thrower down here. But you do have a blitzer for extra bang for your buck there, so you're doing... Black Orcs are best in a scrum because they have 4 strength, so at low skill teams there's no guard to give assists around. That's really good. That you can keep them isolated on 1v1s, because in the scrum the 4 strength really tells against you. So you can aim for this sort of thing. And this actually come up in chat before the stream. How do you deal with line or LOS lineups that actually outstrength you, like Flesh Golems and Orcs, or Black Orcs? This is how you do it.
Yeah.
You keep them tied up and irrelevant away from
tie up my 4-string pieces with a crappy lineman I don't care about. It's really annoying. I was playing some yesterday against a dwarf coach that was much higher TV than me. I was playing as Bretonnians with the streamer copy, and I just kept throwing peasants at the death roller he had, and it didn't get to do much of anything functional for most of the game. So this is actually really horrible for me because I can't even make a legit pickup on the ball that makes any sense whatsoever. Like, there is no good pickup on this ball. In fact, I'm probably going to try something a little more dangerous here just to get more players in the vague vicinity of the ball because... Yep, that's fine. I was hoping to get that blitzer free and run him over here. I can't even really protect the ball, honestly. It was a GFI to even try to pick it up, and I'm done with rerolls. I only have 2.
Yep.
So before anything crazy happens, stand up,
What I
dude.
would do is base with 80s, the blitzer that's currently stopping my catcher from moving.
So, first pick up dude that's down, because he's not going to, I think, do anything functional otherwise. Let's take a look at the general strategy here. Like, if you can get, you want to get guys on my lineman here, like you said. Trying to block down Ephemeral Ed here, this blitzer, and get this catcher free is not unreasonable.
It's actually a... Yeah, there's actually a fairly good chance to do what you need to do here. I would start opposite turn order though. The ball's already in a bad spot for fake, so
Yeah.
consolidating position is better. So first of all, you've got to get your thrower relevant back here. He's not doing anything.
Yeah, Zeus back here needs to do a thing. Just get him closer to the action somewhere.
Probably down your right-hand side.
Yep, that's exactly what it's doing. I would also take this 2-die that you have on my Black Orc, Brief Bob, with, like, say, one of these linemen here, because that frees up 2 pieces.
Yep, and you want to be pushing him to the left side, your left side of the pitch, getting him further away from the action.
Or down the middle is the best you have with that block, so just push him down the middle.
Yep.
And follow up, because he's tied up with the lineman, and that's great. You want my big 4-string guys to be tied up on useless linemen. And now 2 more players are in the action. It can be annoying for me.
Should I try to free up my blitzer?
Which blitzer?
I can get a 2-die block on the Black Orc.
Which blitzer are we talking?
Hephaestus, I believe, is the man in question.
Yeah,
absolutely, that should be the thing you're looking to do, because your plan is here to blitz that line orc. So I'd be taking that block. I'd be moving. The only consideration here is you want to try and not have as many players tied up once fake stands that Black Orc up. So you need to look at how you're going to position your assists so that when you block him down, he's only in one tackle zone basically, or he's only going to be able to put a tackle zone on one guy.
I think it's going to have to be 2 guys, but that's
ideally,
fine.
yes, it would be one, but
No,
that's always
it shall be 1 guy.
Okay, alright.
And you want to try and not... Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's actually better than the plan I had right there. That's really good. Excellent. And then you wouldn't follow that up?
Yep, so he's tied up with 1 dude. And now we're out of rerolls, but this catcher has dodge skill. It's 8 out of 9 to put a tackle zone on my guy, which is something you want to do anyway.
But
So it shall be done.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hades can do a thing. We forgot this guy who can move freely.
Yep.
Use him to just, like, tie up some stuff, I would say.
You could have actually gotten a 2-die block before moving him by moving Hades up to take the assist away from Proton Paul, and then used Ares to blitz, to punch Ephemeral Ed.
But now where we are, just use Hades to tie up some guys. Just be obnoxious and tie up orcs. And now we can try this blitz. There is a GFI involved, so it's actually a 2 out of 3. But even if you fail,
yeah,
it's worth the risk.
Bad.
And I'd be pushing him in and
In
into
the
the tackle
pitch.
zone of the catcher,
Yeah.
and then not following up,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so that he's free to move basically.
Yep. So the blitzer will be free to move, and this guy will be tied up by your catcher. And you don't even need to bother trying to make another GFI and pick up the ball or anything crazy like that at this point.
Absolutely not.
It's totally
I still
you're,
have the next turn to pick it up.
you're real
Absolutely.
happy where it is right now.
This is also Fake's drive, so
Yes.
any
Yeah,
turn
this is my
wasted
drive.
here, this-
Anything like this is already awesome. Like, even in a best case scenario, it's still going to be nearly impossible for me to score. My
The
best
flip
chance of
side to
scoring is this blitzer here somehow picking up a pass, but oops, it's a blizzard, we can only do short passes and quick passes.
Now the flip side to this for newer coaches, once again to be playing devil's advocate, is that if Asteflix flubs this defense somehow and Fake gets free, he'll score on turn 8 most likely,
Yeah.
and then you've basically undone all the good work you've done up till now. So Asteflix's goal here is to stall as long as he can safely, failing that score, and I don't think he's got the strength or the player, or he's not in the right position, nor does he have the strength to stall.
Good news, everyone!
Super dodgy one, thank you for joining, sir.
So unless I missed my mark, Fake's goal here is basically probably to go into damage control mode. He's
Yeah.
going to try and consolidate and force you to score. He's going to try and block as many Orcs free as he can, move down the pitch, and try and put as much pressure on that ball as possible
Right.
to make sure that you have to score.
Like, I'm not even thinking about scoring, or realistically at this point, I'm not even thinking about I'm going to stop you from scoring. I've just kind of accepted the fact that that's probably going to happen.
Good news, everyone!
Stone Age Hero has also joined the team. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, cheer up. You did kill one of my dudes.
I did. And, you know,
Actually, you did that.
yeah, you did it.
Well,
Blood Bowl gives and Blood Bowl takes.
GFI deaths, the saddest deaths.
Yeah.
no. Thrown rocks are the saddest death.
You can't do anything about that. You chose to make the GFI. So you got a dead player, and the other guy didn't get any SPP.
Oh, stunned.
Stun is really useful for me, obviously.
Yes.
So I'm just going to tie things up and try and be annoying. Because that
So,
is
well-
my best thing I got here. Try and make this real hard on you.
So while you're doing that, would you like me to go through the basic concept of the 2-1 grind here, since we've been talking about it?
Go for it.
Right, okay, so basically, as we've been talking about the 2-1 grind, it's a strategy employed in Blood Bowl. It's basically about clock manipulation. The idea is that you want to score, or force your opponent to score very quickly on their offensive drive, and then you want to hold onto the ball for the rest of the game. You want to score in that same half as your opponent had their guaranteed offensive drive when they're receiving kickoff, and then you want to hold onto the ball for the entire other half and score a second time, giving them no opportunity to reply, thereby winning 2-1. It's often called the 2-1 grind, but it's not
That's fine.
actually appropriate.
Like, that was obviously, I was prioritizing blocks. This is the least important block on the pitch to me, and I'm just going to let it time out. I will take that. I was taking ones with block skill first and things like that, and working my way down to things which mattered the least, so we'll deal with it. So I tried to make it as hard as I can on you. Like, at this point, it's obvious I'm not even thinking about scoring right now. Now, let's see what's the best for you to do here.
What I would do is move my thrower to get an assist on the Black Orc, punch down the Black Orc, move my other blitzer with my catcher, and then my other blitzer to try and out-wrestle you at the ball, then pick it up, then score.
Alright,
So,
go ahead, Rev.
I was going to say, so here you're looking at probably overthinking it. Your only goal at this point, because you can't protect that ball for another turn, is scoring. So I'd be looking at a blitz option with Hephaestus the Blitzer to probably blitz him free and pick the ball up. What about you, Fate? What's your take on that?
Okay.
Oh, that's
yeah,
fine.
I
Like,
get it.
you have the assist here. Apollo can tie up Impermanent Ian down here, give the assist on him. One of these guys from further up the pitch, like, you can block down this
Artemis.
Black Orc and block down Temporary Ted here. Use one of these free guys to take away this assist. Or, you know, on Make Do
Yes.
Mat. So take your...
Well, I
Black
can
Orc 2 die here.
just straight out move my lineman to take out the assist.
Absolutely.
lineman
There's
can get
less,
there.
Yes, there's less dice rolling involved in that, and that makes it the better option.
For some reason,
So
I thought that took something.
Yep, no, that's absolutely the right option there, and then you
So-
simply use Hephaestus to blitz.
Check to see if
Alignment?
you want to move this thrower first, because he still has totally free movement. You may want
He
to
can
just...
actually give an assist on the Black Orc.
He can give an assist on a Black Orc in case you want to take this block later.
Although all going to plan, we won't be taking the block
Yeah,
later.
in theory, we will
Yeah.
not be taking this block.
But it does
So,
prevent Fake
blitz
having a block
time.
next to him.
So blitz and hopefully knock down and hopefully follow up.
Yes, correct.
We'll see what happens. So that came up Skull Push. Is that worth a reroll, you think?
Absolutely at this
think so.
point.
Yes, reroll it. Oh, he took it. It's fine.
It's fine, so now we dodge. Realistically, as an elf blitzer, it's probably not the end of the world because it's a dodge into no tackle zones.
Right.
So you'd simply dodge onto that ball now and run into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, anyways, it's as likely because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so
That's my
you're
point
dodging
on it.
into no tackle zones to pick the ball up in no tackle zones. It's a series of 2+
Here's your
rerolls. 2+ rolls rather as an blitzer. So this would be not only a smart play, but
Never mind.
It didn't happen.
it's alright. It's more the decision making that goes behind it. That
Yeah,
would have been
like, and that's the
2+
important part about the
rolls.
Blood Bowl class in general is sometimes Nuffle is going to say we're not going to get to teach exactly what we want to, but as long as the lessons are learned, this is the important part.
You now outman Fake down that ball,
Yeah,
and you've denied him another block on the Black Orc. With the Black Orc, which is
Yeah.
good.
and what I'm going to be seriously looking at is trying to make a GFI blitz with Pro Tim Paul here, and just pushing your catcher onto the ball and just praying it goes somewhere less horrible than this, because this is about the worst spot on the pitch it can be. And it's a GFI, I don't want to take GFIs, but realistically, I don't have too many options here. We don't have good options, we have bad options now.
Because you're forcing him to move or to use movement that he doesn't really have. And Blizzard or not, it's a good choice. Making your opponent roll dice is always good.
So that is a 2 out of 3 GFI because Blizzard, we don't like it, but we do it. We did make it. No, we didn't. I forgot the animation on that's different now. Yeah, so because I couldn't even do that, like, you have a straight 2 out of 3 pickup. The score, which is 8 out of 9 with a reroll, so... You can...
You know what I would do instead?
What would you do
Blitz
instead?
with my blitzer, 2 die, push, then try and pick it up with my catcher because he has catch. So if my blood goes
It's
wrong,
not a
I still
bouncing
have
ball,
a
so it
reroll.
won't affect... Catch will not affect this.
And you're adding more dice. You're adding more dice rolling to the option as well.
And, like, just from a pure team building standpoint, I would prefer to get SPP on a blitzer on a human team. It's a little more difficult.
Or an elf team actually as well.
Same
as you
thing.
said.
Yeah, and just scoring right now is great. So, I'm...
Hello?
Why is he doing the GFI blitz when I already had someone available to get a 2-die block?
That catcher was 2 strength, is what BMG was saying.
Yeah, that's true.
But yes, in theory as well, that would have been a 3 strength catcher, so...
Yeah, if we're, like, from a
unintentional
classroom
situation.
point, unintentionally we played correctly for a elf game. So in defense, you know, obviously same formation, but you're going to have to tweak things a bit. I have 3 turns to try and score, so I'm going to basically try to play a orc passy game with no rerolls, which is always fun. But I don't have any other options, so that's what we're going to do.
And basically, the other things are you can afford to compact that lineup a little bit in, even moving 1 wide piece into the center, like put the thrower in the center, and then put the 2 catchers inside, because Fake's not going to have the movement to go around you, basically.
And I'm still going to try.
He's still going to try. He can try and go around you. He can try and go through you. Either way, it's good. He has to do it fast.
Yeah. Time is not my friend.
Absolutely not.
It's not your friend, it's a spice.
Wild Cloctopus, yeah, the human died on a failed GFI, and we had a KO'd.
Irony is that he asked me to do the GFIs, which I didn't plan to do beforehand. So when I did it, I rerolled and it still failed and it killed my guy.
I stand by that decision. The GFI was correct. These things just happen sometimes.
Yep.
So
The idea was that it would be safe.
I'm setting up players in the wide zone. This is we're playing much riskier than I otherwise would, but I don't have the luxury of playing not risky. Because I want to score this half real bad. So I'm willing to take risks to try and do that. And we'll see what happens. If we get another real deep kick, then we potentially end up in the same situation again, which is no fun for me. And a reroll for you. Oh, went literally straight to my thrower. Okay, I'll take that. So that means, happily for me, I can actually set up a nice cage. And I am going to be eyeing up your guys and playing the legendary orc passing game. Which is better than people give it credit for a lot of the time. There's a lot of people who are like, you know, orcs can't pass. It's like, you're better than unskilled elves, actually. You actually come with skills to do it.
Yep, and if you've got a reel up your sleeve for the catch, it's a really good chance.
Yeah. If you have a reroll available for catch, you're great at this, actually. It's just one of those things which sounds weird, but it's not.
The orc short pass is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I stand by the orc passing is weird because they're not supposed to need it.
They're not, but
Sure.
it's a tool in your repertoire to be used.
That's tragic.
It is.
I would have greatly preferred a push to form a nice solid cage. But
I'd say 4 black orcs standing there, even if one of them's laying there, is a pretty
it's still
solid
reasonable.
front.
Like, obviously
Yeah.
there are blitzes on the ball carrier. Like, that is a thing I have to accept. But they're not pretty. Remember, yeah, stand up
I
line
think
dude.
it's going to be a 1-die blitz on your ball carrier, actually.
Yeah, no, it seems very reasonable. Like, there's still things to get around. Yeah, this guy gets out of the way, Fleeting Freddy. Alright, cool.
Or doesn't.
Or does it? So now that the rerolls are gone, like, whenever I'm used my reroll for the turn, I think real hard about, now that I know that's gone, let's make sure we do the safe stuff now. Like, that was my, oops, I really need to be doing this safe stuff right now. So yeah, covering these receivers here is great. Making sure that these guys are not gonna do anything crazy next turn or making it hard on them is very good.
Yeah, even the fact that these guys are 2 strength is okay, because to get them, for these orcs to receive, they're going to have to probably blitz themselves free. and then that means they have to take their movement to get towards the end zone, which makes the pass longer. So even if the piece is going to get blitzed down...
Should I take the 2 die with my lineman that's not really doing stuff, or actually just blitz and hope for that?
I would take the... I'd go ahead and try this block first. Doing anything with this lineman over here is not going to really help you in the long term. This blitz can be real big. I would rather have a chance to do the blitz. It's got 5 out of 6 of not failing. And then you can take that lineman block if you want.
Okay.
Obviously, this block over here is... This block over here is relatively safe. It's like 88% chance of not failing, but even more so if you use the blitzer, but... Yeah. Blood Bowl's gonna do things. Okay.
I thought he wasn't good for a second. I was like, no.
Yeah. I stand by my decisions even when Blood Bowl gives me reason not to.
No, it's absolutely the correct decision. As I said, you're now forcing Fate to roll dice.
And I don't like rolling dice. I am not a fan.
Not with no re-rolls, not when the odds aren't in your favor.
So I'm going to stand up my dudes, and my idea is, as Rev said, I want to blitz through, which makes any pass attempt significantly harder, because I have to do the movement on this guy first. The real problem is, since I've only got 6 movement, I can't get 13 squares in 2 turns without making a GFI and Blizzard and no rerolls. So that's very unfortunate. If I can tie up everything real well, I would love to not attempt to throw this turn. But we'll see what happens. I want to get Impermanent Ian in the game. Gonna free him up, hopefully. A push is fine. We will deal with a push at least. I would really preferred not get a push, but these things happen. Seeing as that's the case, I'm gonna free up this Black Orc.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh.
No, this is me.
My mind just stopped for a few seconds, sorry.
Okay. And I'm being very quiet, trying to think what the best thing to do in this situation. I think I'm going to tweak my cage a little bit over here.
Excuse my English, I'm actually a French speaker in real life, so my bad.
So we kind of move our cage over here. This is not a super ideal cage. Like, this guy is probably, my thrower is still probably blitzable, but we deal with it. One of the guys down there is stunned, so I don't have to worry about that as much. So I'm gonna take leading Freddy here and run him down. And I'm gonna hang tight with Ephemeral Ed. He's my backup plan, basically. So I do have 3 guys technically in range of scoring on turn 8. Like Perishable Paul's a long shot, to say the least, but we have 2 orcs here that have reasonable chances of scoring. And I have to settle for that, pretty much. So your turn is basically going to be trying to tie up or take down these guys, or maybe blitzing the ball carrier, figuring out, do I want to blitz a pass target or do I want to blitz a ball carrier? And how to free up players best to do that.
I'm going to end up trying to blitz the ball carrier. But at the same time, I'm gonna try and dodge out with one of my catchers to tie up.
You just tie up a guy, yeah. Alright, so I'll intern and we'll see what happens. So unfortunately, these two Black Orcs next to the ball carrier already are not providing any assists to help this out. Those both catchers?
Of course, if you do manage to put down, and you actually can, put down all three of these players with 2-die blocks, Fake then can no longer score.
Which is kind of difficult because they've all got block skill.
True.
Yeah. Although
I prefer trying to take down his ball carrier, honestly.
Yeah, it's not wrong. I think Rev was just talking about the possibility.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you have a safe, although, okay, it actually wasn't a 2-die block on Perishable Paul, but it would have been with elf catches. Let's
see what. Sure. Yeah, we're fine here. So this is a 1-die with block skill on a guy without block, 5 out of 6 if not whiffing, and there are still rerolls, so that will knock the ball out of my hands. And make anything I do significantly harder because that is my pass skill guy. And pushing him into a tackle zone obviously makes sense. Of all the places for the ball to go, I'm not incredibly unhappy with that one because even though it's in one of your guys' tackle zones, it's close to the action where I want to score, and that's actually a thing I need to think about here. And yeah, running a guy down into potential scoring range here is real annoying for me. Although it's a lineman and he's 2 GFIs away, but it's a thing I have to keep in the back of my mind. Going down 2-0 before the half starts is obviously horrible.
Is actually probably the game.
Yeah, that's actually probably game over. Alright, so let's see.
I actually think I'm starting to enjoy that thing, or that team.
What? The humans?
You'll actually find it better with elves because this is not optimal.
Yeah, I think you will find it better either playing elves, or if you are playing humans, to have an ogre.
But I think I'm gonna play elves more now.
That's good. Glad to hear it. So, I want to get... I think maybe... If I can use my blitz... Well, actually, I don't want to use my blitz. I want to... Yeah, if I can blitz down this rower Zeus without having to do anything crazy, then I can actually do a handoff, which is a big deal for me because my pass guy is not going to be doing it. So we're going to try to work towards that and see what we can do. A push is not the best, but we're at the whims of the dice right now. So, well... Actually real tricky. Yeah, I actually kind of really need knockdowns now. Because... Yeah, I don't know who's even that's honestly at this point. You know, the best blitz may involve a dodge on Fleeting Freddy, honestly, which is not a good thing whatsoever. Or a chain push. Let me look at chain pushes real quick. Well, there's actually a pretty good chain push. It's all rough, though. Let's try to take this 1-die. That's going to be 2 out of 3 chance. I don't like it, but the chain pushes that can follow up help me out a ton. Because now I get to put this guy up here.
This stun does nothing.
Yeah. stun doesn't matter at this point.
That's bad for you.
It's not ideal. Nothing is at this point. It's all horrible, honestly. I'm kind of overthinking things, though. So, you know. And now we are going to try this dodge that I promised to get this guy off. That's not happening.
So, I'm gonna try and score.
Go for it.
Absolutely you do.
It's one of those situations where I was, you know, I think maybe overthinking things a bit because there was so many opportunities to do things.
At least my chances aren't all that great.
It's kind of the opposite of analysis paralysis, I guess, where I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing I can do. Oh, that's another cool thing I can do. And just I keep doing them all. Then I'm like, oh, actually, it still sucks.
Yeah, I think maybe the better option there would have been to just simply take the blocks and try and block them away from the ball, at least push them away if possible.
Yeah.
Hoping they go down and then use the line orc to pick it up and run down. I think your blitz option was
I didn't
correct.
see a real amazing way to clear the line orc. He was obviously the handoff guy. Like, that was the only thing that made any sense. I didn't see a good way to clear him off. I'm sure if I look back at the video again, I'm gonna see something, like, instantly, but there's just a lot of funky stuff to do.
I saw a way to... There was one block that was going to absolutely need to be a down to clear it off, but otherwise it was okay. You could have cleared it. But...
YOLO!
Yeah. So we've got a snow GFI here. Always fun. So this is going to be a pass if you're a new coach. Intercepts are hard. All of these are going to be 6s. So it doesn't matter what I try to intercept with. So I should look for where I want the SPP, in theory.
Black Orcs.
I'd love it, but yeah, we can get Black Orcs. Let's do Black Orc attempt. Like, because these are all 6s, it doesn't matter. Pick the guy you want SPP on and pray. That doesn't look like an intercept at all. It's a failed catch, though. That ball's going on a trip.
So many failed catches.
That ball went on a bit of a tour.
I actually probably would have considered just cutting it to that lineman down there, straight up over the
Just
top.
straight up going all the way
I
down
could
past.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, no, it's
blizzard.
Blizzard.
Of course.
Or, handoffs.
Counting one square too many, I think you're one short of.
Yeah.
Hard to say, we'd have to go back and double check, but yeah.
So now I am down a point and putting my players on defense, which is always the worst situation. It is never a thing you want to be doing, but that's what we're doing. I'm fine leaving the one lineman on the line because the Black Orcs are going to hopefully save him from having anything horrible happen.
Should I try to score fast or try and stall before scoring?
In a lot of situations, I would say it's very easy, just score as slowly as possible, take up as much time on the clock. Given that the score will put you up 2-0, though, there's no real reason to stall, aside from, like, if you fail it and you take 5 turns failing it, that's better than taking 2 turns failing it. So I would still say if you get the chance to stall really productively, then do it, but, like, if you have the chance to score, just score. If it's like you have no die rolls, just walk in, then walk in. So I'm going with the same defense as always.
Yep, and if we get to a point where we can actually demonstrate some stalling. I suppose
That'd be
then
great.
we can discuss how to actually do it correctly, because a lot of people are against stalling because that ends up costing them the game.
What would be a good setup for my team?
A good setup. So, my Black Orcs are on those edges and real obnoxious to take down, and that's why they're there. If you want to run targets through, what I would do is I would try to send them through on the sidelines. Rev can correct me if I'm wrong. I would try to take down either Perishable Paul on that side or Ephemeral Ed on that side. If you don't want to do that, you could basically just grab the ball and kind of hang back and wait for me to move and give you a route to take, because eventually I have to.
The other consideration here is that it is actually a blizzard, so your default plan of long pass isn't actually going to be a thing you can do.
Yeah.
So you basically want to set up with a uniform setup. Like you want to have an equilateral, so that you can pick which side depending on where the kick goes, and leave yourself some options here. Wait and see what Fake does with his offense, with his defense, and see where the ball goes. Really, that's about it. It's picking your time rather than going in with a straight up plan in this case.
Yeah, I cannot stay with a perfect defense forever. There will be a time when something opens up and a catcher can run through and make things obnoxious. And it's nice weather now, so ignore all that stuff we said about snow.
All of that goes out the window.
Good news,
That's
everyone!
horrible.
Jinja has joined the team. Thank you, sir.
That is a horrible, horrible.
That is an awful place for that kick to go for you. So, let's think about this for a second before we do anything. It may be worth considering to, at some point in this turn, actually try to 2-die uphill that Black Orc with a Blitzer.
You know what I would do? I would put 2 of my players from the left side to 2-die your Black Orc, then 2-die your Blitzer, then move another guy on top of the, not on top, but 1 square up of the ball to 2-die your Blitzer, pick it up with my thrower, come back to my line of scrimmage, so I could have a precarious gauge going on.
Absolutely. If you're careful with your follow-ups, that's your best chance there, basically.
I didn't follow, so just show me.
Yeah. I'm following here.
Okay.
He's basically going to try and block down your LOS.
Okay.
Pull his players around the ball, and then try and perform a pseudo cage up there on halfway and see what you make of that then. And it's good because he doesn't actually need any knockdowns to clear the ball off.
Yeah. Very reasonable. Yeah, we'll call that an onside kick, pretty much. And it's good that you don't need any knockdowns to clear the ball, because you did not. Remember to take your safe moves first. Like you've got these guys here who are going to end up around the ball, and you probably want to put them kind of there-ish.
Yep, I'd form up mate in the cage, and I'd strongly consider doing the GFI with the thrower once he picks it up to step back 1 into the cage, because otherwise there's Yep, absolutely. You're all over it.
Seems good to me.
Actually, I won't move him there. That's not a good idea.
Let's see what's here.
Okay. For consideration, probably the catches and the catches on the back and the blitzers up the front, if it's at all possible.
Yeah, cage posts are cage posts, but the guys in the back don't get punched as much usually.
those two guys at the back as well. If as an I suppose nitpick thing, if we're going for perfection, over the right one and form the cage up.
Well,
Hill post. Yep, that's alright.
Of all the places that could have
was
scattered,
bad,
that's the best
but
place.
That wasn't that bad.
That's a cage. You're just missing a ball carrier.
Yeah, it's
The
just
ball's
no
even
ball.
there.
So I'm gonna try to get tricky and see if I can bounce this ball somewhere. But before I do anything super nuts, I'm gonna take the free movement, and I'm going to vaguely screen, but I'm not going to be able to screen you, because you can run much faster than me. So this is more of a delay tactic than anything else. This is keep anything super crazy from happening, kinda.
That's not that bad, but it's still bad.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Because I am going
That
to
being-
bounce this ball and hope something horrible happens for you, but it probably won't. Odds are real good it's going to go better places for you than for me.
Famous last words. It probably won't.
Yeah, we're
The
chain
best
pushing
thing-
onto the ball, BMG. Absolutely.
Like, look at where the ball was after the kickoff. It was sitting in Black Hawk tackle zones, and you were outstrength on the LOS. You've managed to clear the ball off, get it to as about a safe a position as you could,
Wow.
and
Oh,
you've
yeah,
also
baby.
managed to deny
Skull push, I'll take it.
fake any or mostly good blocks. Like, that's the other thing here now. Regardless, you always
Wow,
want to be
okay.
looking to deny blocks.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
that's
about as bad as it goes.
about a best case scenario scatter for me. And I'm not going to try to pick up that ball because that's not happening. I'm Orcs. We are going
It's in
to...
3 tackle zones.
It's in tackle zones. We are going to... Or it's about to be in 3 tackle zones for me, too. We're just going to be annoying. We've used our reroll as well, so... Yep. Not the best. We'll manage.
So, I know that I can clear off his LOS and his Black Orc.
Yep.
That's making tackle zones around the ball. Should I? Because I'm gonna commit a lot.
I don't see why not. Like
so.
think about the plan here. Remember, the strategy in the long term is you don't need to score. You just need to keep me from scoring. If you just keep things real obnoxious for me, then it's still fine. You know?
Yeah.
If you just keep blocking him away and not giving him any return punches and keeping tackle zones on the ball, he then has to start rolling dice to try and get a hold of that ball. And he doesn't have any. He's got one reroll.
We've lost
and
one of
that's
those
it.
rerolls already because dub skulls keep happening. So
So you just keep playing keep away with that ball, and it's fine. And if at some point the ball scatters and ends up in a better position, and you can reclaim it comfortably, all the better. And the thing is that Fate can't even properly commit to this with all of his players, because if the ball does come loose, you vastly outspeed him, and once again,
yeah,
we're pretending we're elves. We also actually, you know, are far more mobile than him, so dodging players out and away is a very real possibility.
yeah. Like I still have to leave a player or two back in case something horrible happens.
Which helps mitigate the strength disadvantage that you're at.
Yeah. And realistically, my best move right here is probably going to be to keep doing what I've been doing and just put all the Black Orcs near the ball and just pray something screws up for you.
And aside from the fact that that thrower is the weakest piece on the pitch in terms of AV, and you had the best chance of injuring him, putting him on his ass and pushing him away from the ball is even better,
Yeah.
because that's his best chance of picking the ball up. So forcing that guy away is a really good move.
Yeah, we've been playing with block dice that don't have POWs on them so far this half.
Yeah.
So what I would really love in this situation is to
Good
have some way
news,
to push a
everyone.
guy onto the ball. Thank you, Goldblum, for joining the team, sir. Very much. I would love to do that, but I don't have any really amazing ways to do it. So not currently an option. So again, my thing here is basically going to be to just base a bunch of your players and hope things work out better this turn than they did last turn. I don't have a real good option here.
The
So,
classic orc pile.
I'm going to be big and strong and stand next to your guys.
Good news, everyone.
Eraser TM, thank you for joining the team, sir.
Big, mean, and green.
That's basically what I got. That is the current game plan.
Good news, everyone.
Singri. I saw Synergy for a second because, you know, work. But, Singri, thank you for joining the team. Put a lineman like right here, just to have more tackle zones on the ball. This perishable Paul here is actually going to kind of hang back because I don't want players running through this side uncontested. And then I'm just gonna try to blitz this guy down. My other blitzer in the back is kind of serving the same purpose, being there in case things go horribly wrong. I have block skill, so that's fine this time. And that's basically my turn. Like, if it gets a couple more turns like this, I'm actually going to have to start running past targets down the pitch, which means even more of a strength, you know, advantage going away for me. Not something I want to do, but don't want to. And for like the very new coaches in the, you know, in the audience who may not know, the reason I'm not even trying to pick up this ball is it's in 3 tackle zones. The odds of me picking it up are incredibly low, and then the odds of me getting it out are not ideal either. So that's a desperation move, which that's more of a 12, 13, or 14 move than a 12, 11, or 10. We've got time. I'm not going to try the super risky stuff now.
I'm gonna be forced to do a 1-die block with my blitzer so that I can get your black orcs out of the way.
Those
Because
are
if I let
relatively
them
safe,
there, I'm
and
gonna
you've
be in
got
trouble.
4 rerolls, so 1-die blocks with block skill. One of the less risky things you can do. Yeah.
At this point, you're even justified in looking at throwing some 2-dies uphill at Black Orcs
With block
blitzes.
skill, yeah.
Yep. It's absolutely a legitimate strategy at this point.
Good number to know if you are not a math and probability person. If you have the block skill, and your opponent does not, and they are stronger than you, so it's a 2-die uphill, you have a 70% chance of that block not backfiring on you.
And by not backfiring, I mean not knocking you over and causing a turnover.
Right, which means no turnover. And by 70%, if you want to be really technical, it's 25 out of 36.
Everyone.
Johnny One Cut, thank you for joining the team. Yeah, me giving up all of these free blocks means that these kind of things are going to happen. That I'm actually giving up a ton of punches. And even though I'm playing Orcs, I don't want to give up free punches. Look what's happening. I mean, you actually, in theory, have a pickup in 1 tackle zone if you wanted to try it. I don't know that you would.
I don't know that you would. Although it may be worth considering. But I'm just wondering here whether or not.
Yeah, chromatism. If you've got block, your opponent doesn't, and he's stronger than you, and you're 2-die appealing, it is 70% chance of not sculling.
I would actually follow that up and consider the pickup attempt with the catcher. I don't think. Don't think I'd do it this turn, but maybe.
Oh, god damn it!
No, that's fine.
No,
I
it's
don't think
fine.
you
He
wanna do
actually
anything
was
else.
saying he wasn't going to do it this turn either, so...
As I'm saying,
No, I mean, I misclicked. I wanted
Misclicked
to
in turn?
to take my catcher and move him somewhat
Oh.
closer to the ball, like
Sure.
maybe 2 squares down, but
He's actually probably okay.
Yeah, they're okay. They're fast enough, and you don't really want them where they can get tied up at the moment because you want to have them pieces mobile.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to pick up this ball this turn because it's about the best chance I'm going to have to do so, and it's not pretty, but I'm going to try it.
Good luck.
I need to try to pick up this ball at some point.
Now, a decision choice here to be made with those.
I can get
last
one
turn.
guy on the ball as opposed to a million. It's not going to get better, so we're going to try that.
Two tackle zones. One tackle
We're going to get
zone.
one. This is as good as my chances are going to get for a while, probably. So we're going to do it. Unfortunately, because we put my thrower over here. Remember we were talking about blocking my thrower away from the action here? That makes things a lot more annoying for me. And even if I block off this guy...
50% chances, 75 with a reroll.
Yeah, which, realistically, considering the situation I'm in, 75% chance is incredible. I'm real happy to have a 75% chance. And that's ignoring this whole dodge thing we have going on. I mean, we can't even think about stuff like dodges. We just have to ignore that right now. I'm going to go up here with the thrower, just get him vaguely near the ball, and we're going to go ahead and try this pickup because we don't have good options. Yep. Unsurprisingly, 50-50 fail. This is 75 total.
Hey, you did.
I did do it. Now, I don't have a real good handoff target. I'm going to try the dodge. This is also ugly, but it really does help if I get this. It's 2 out of 3. Of course not. And a stun, no less, but ball scattered fine. I got the ball out of...
like that ball scattered.
That turn went quite well for me. I don't care about all the failures and the re-rolls. That's an okay for the place for the ball to end up. Yeah, Wild Octopus, there are 2 pushes on the block die. It is a attacker down, both down, defender stumbles, and 2 pushes. The reason that I did the pick up the ball this turn was because I could get it in a situation where there was only 1 tackle zone on the ball. When there are opponents near the ball, it's harder to pick it up. And last turn, there were 3 of them on the ball. And even in a best-case scenario, I couldn't get more than 1 of them off, which would have changed it from a 50% chance of working to 33%. Now that I could get it so there was only 1, it was a 50-50 to pick up the ball. It was much better chances. This ball has moved 4 squares the entire half. That is a true statement.
Now, the danger here is taking blocks on the outside to go around is that you're weakening the center of your position, which is already fairly paper thin considering the amount of Black Orcs clustered around there. So, if Fake manages to get a good string of blocks next turn, he can actually drive a wedge straight through the center and start rolling that cage forward with a fair bit of momentum.
Wild Octopus, if the ball had scattered towards me, it would have been a better place, obviously, but there was basically an equal chance it would have scattered to his side of the pitch, which would have been horrifically bad for me. Like, where the ball is now is pretty good for me, but not like... It's not there yet. If the ball scatters into his half of the pitch, some catcher picks up the ball and runs backwards like 7 or 8 squares, and I'm not seeing that ball again for a very long time. It's a matter of the potential upside versus potential downside. Like, the best case scenario is something like this kind of. Worst case scenario, I'm not seeing that ball again for like 3 turns. Each GFI is 1/6 chance of failing. Can someone give me the aggregate chance? It is actually exactly 70% once again to make 2 GFIs. Chromatism, correct. You got the odds exactly right. It is 25 out of 36 to make 2 GFIs.
I would actually strongly consider the 2-die uphill at this point with that blitzer on that Black
On the
Orc.
Black Orc? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
At this point, we're kind of pot committed to keeping him out and moving forward. It skulls down, but that doesn't make it a wrong decision.
Yeah, it was the right decision. Right decisions don't always work out.
Yeah,
So, okay.
I think it's probably gonna end up somewhere like 1-1 or 1-0.
The game is going to end like 1-1 or 1-0. Or maybe 2-0 if I completely mess up. But there's probably only going to be one more score in this game at most.
2 dice with a riot, maybe.
Yeah, I've got 2 die on a lineman with a lineman to free up my thrower, which I really want to do. I'm totally out of rerolls, so this is an 8 out of 9 chance of not messing up, which I may have to take. I will take the 8 out of 9. If it works. And realistically, I should have stood up that one Black Orc that is not going anywhere first. And actually, probably even this guy's not going anywhere. Let's try to play good when we're teaching Blood Bowl. Since the ball's in a moderately safe place, the next thing I'm going to do is try and free up a pass target to have a chance of scoring and to spread things out a little bit in general. You do still have a huge wad of players in front of the ball, which is going to keep me from moving it like I really want to. So I'm going to try to loosen you up a little bit by threatening a pass. I'm gonna put a guy here for when I attempt this pickup. I'm gonna try to use the block skill here. That is a relatively safe block. Will work out. An injury. It's been a while since we've seen one of those.
He's dead.
He's badly hurt. He's fine. So I fortunately take a guy off the pitch. That's actually kind of a side effect of the number of blocks I'm giving you, honestly. Like, I'm giving you a ton of free blocks because of necessity at this point.
Yeah.
So you're doing a very good job of pushing him away, denying him blocks.
So you are getting more blocks and more armor breaks than you would in a lot of these games because of the desperation, the good positioning, those kind of things. So I did get the ball. I'm going to go ahead and try this 2-die on a catcher here. We'll get a push, that's fine. I just want to kind of try to do more damage, get players further down the pitch. That does get him 1 square, and he may have to be covered in the future, but I have the ball. It just took me like 4 turns to secure it.
I'm probably gonna try 1-die block against your thrower.
Okay.
With my blitzer.
Alrighty, seems reasonable.
I default that logic.
I'm sorry.
This
what?
is, for people who are wondering, this came up in Knorr chat at some point. Someone was asking what level ups you take on an Orc thrower. I will still tell you block is the first level up, like, just about every time.
Yup. It's
Will
just
he
so
take
much more useful that
the push?
once he gets that.
Yeah, he will. Okay.
Because people will try desperation shit to get into your cage
Yeah.
at times.
So thrower's going to try to do a thing here. Oh, I see what he's got here. So he's going to try to open up this path here. I think? No.
That's really bad. I had forgotten where I actually would push them.
Oh yeah, okay. I was wondering. I mean, still not super ideal for
Really
me.
screwed that
Like,
up.
that
Well,
was
that's
not
fine.
terribly good, but I can't move the ball that safely. To be honest with you, I cannot
Elf bullshit
safely move it.
coming.
Yeah, if you can't take him down, taking down this guy's a pretty reasonable option. Yep, there he goes. Ephemeral Ed is dead.
Oh my god.
He lived up to his name.
He did.
Lived up to his... I don't know, is that correct in this case?
Ephemeral Ed? No, he lived up to his name. Or lived down to
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is saying that he lived up to his name really appropriate, given that he's just ripped?
He lived down to his name, Ephemeral Ed. And like I've been talking about, you don't normally expect a bunch of 9 armor players to die, but he is getting a lot more blocks than you normally would in a game because of all of the tragic things that have been happening. So, it's not surprising to me that I'm losing more armor rolls than I normally would.
Well, don't worry, it's a friendly match. None will.
Yeah, none of these are
matter.
permanent. I can just use this team to keep teaching people who want to play against orcs.
No, I mean.
No, it's a
death
friendly.
And the SPPs
Yeah.
won't count. That's
Yeah,
a
nothing
friendly
counts.
match.
Yes.
The friendlies.
So the team can be used
It's
again
nice.
without having to remake them. Now, I would have actually considered leaving that lineman there. He was doing a fairly valuable job of tying up 2 players.
Well, yeah, it
obviously
looks
it's
real
easier
bad
to
in
block him.
hindsight, obviously, but
No, I realise that. I'm just, as a point of, you know, dodging him away didn't actually gain you anything. I think he was actually doing better work where he was than anywhere else you could have put him.
so
Yeah, I was scared of the Black Orc punching him out and the Blitzer being free, but then he's still free, so.
Yeah, even dodging away. Then
seeing
he's
as
just
I
straight
have
into the
this,
same.
I'm going to go ahead and try to move the ball up. This is not a terribly safe place to have the ball, but it's something I'll deal with. Again, it's one of those situations where I don't have as many options as I would really, really like. I just kind of have to play with what's given to me at this point. I want to take the 1 die. Is it gonna help? Yeah. Better from that angle. Yeah, I'll... No, let's not. This. So, I'm kind of advantaged over here on this side because most of the players are tied up in the middle. Once these guys in the middle free themselves up and this catcher and the splitzer over here kind of get back in the action, that'll change. Especially when you can tie up these Black Orc cage posts because they are slow and not good at moving. So, we will see if I can tie it, but... Now, the game launches Tuesday. It is not the worst place to put the ball. There are cage dive opportunities which could be taken, but it may not happen yet. The thing I don't like is that the back of my cage is going to get tied up. By, like, this lineman standing up after Daggy here is literally just going to tie up a Black Orc.
Peel the back off the cage. It's not an ideal situation to be trying to pull the back off the cage, but given that
That's
he's
all
already
this
down
lineman
over
is
there,
going to do
why
for the
not?
rest of the game, honestly.
Yep. And as we discussed, lineman for Black Orc, good trade.
Yep. So blocking like that frees up this piece here. The goal hopefully is to walk the ball into the end zone. I do have the time to do walking still. Assuming I can still make forward progress this upcoming turn, walking the ball in is a possibility.
There's also that blitzer over there, Ares, that should definitely be over there in the action before any blocks are taken, seeing as
Yeah.
there's free movement.
I guess you must... I don't know if you had some
Yeah.
other plan with him, or...
I'm still making mistakes.
Oh, it
As-
happens.
as you do.
Like everyone.
We all do.
I'm doing that too. Making mistakes and not taking my free movement first. And it's one of the easiest things to fix in your game, but everyone messes it up here and there.
You
Taking
get
down a
excited
cage
with this,
post is always reasonable.
and you get excited when you see, you know, it's I can get in here and put tackle zones on the ball carrier. That's important. Let's do that. And then you flub free moves.
So, I'm starting to get to the situation where a lot of my stuff is tied up, and I'm not honestly going to be able to just take 5 players and make a cage out of them. So we're going to get into sideline cages in just a second, because I just don't need as many players to do them.
Another thing as well, that catcher may have actually been better getting in front of the cage and standing one off where you put that, well, actually one down from that lineman so that you couldn't block him. You'd have to use the blitz to move the cage forward, and then he'd have to choose between using a blitz to try and free up the ball carrier or blitzing to go forward. And as soon as he gets one blitz a turn, you're dividing his attention there. Obviously, priority 1 is free the ball up, but if you can free the ball up with the blitz and then just block down that blitzer with the block you've given him, he can then promote the ball as well.
True.
And these aren't things that newer coaches are expected to pick up and, like, being told once, incorporate into their game, because it takes a long time. It takes a very long time.
I don't think it's too shabby. He's gonna have difficulties.
Yeah, oh no,
doing 2
like,
dice.
this is an ugly situation. No doubt.
Just, once again, Blood Bowl not playing the game for us. It's important to note that all of Fake's offensive plays have been made on his opponent's drive and vice versa. So we haven't seen the typical game.
Yeah, this has not been usual Blood Bowl for sure. Both of us have stolen the ball. I really need this to work. So of course it doesn't.
But once again, it's more about the decision making than...
Yeah, so I needed that to work. The idea was going to be to run into a sideline cage with these 2 pieces here. Because that failed, there's a guy already basing my ball carrier, so there's a easy 1 die. Like, an instant 1 die, like, doesn't even need any work. Barbertov!
The 2 die is a little harder.
Yeah, 2 die is more difficult. 1 die on the ball carrier without block is trivial.
I'm gonna probably do a 1 die, actually. Yeah.
So, it's about to be my turn 15, which means that I need to put a guy in scoring range to have a chance to not lose.
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah. And taking that is, like, as far as I, you know, turn over it on first block of the turn, that's about as good as it gets.
I probably would have taken your catcher that was unmarked, both of them actually, and maybe considered where you could put them to make it harder to get someone into scoring range. Before taking that, knowing that you probably weren't going to recover that ball regardless of where it was going to go. But the greedier option would have been, of course, to take the block, hope that it scatters somewhere, and then have those catches free to capitalize on it if, say, it scattered left, and then just bounced over and over again on that big clusterfuck of players and end up over there, near the, in between the catches, preferably in the open ground.
So we're gonna try to get some pass targets down. Because if they're out in scoring range now, they're not scoring.
I'm really happy about that game.
It's been a real good game so far. It's been a good instructional game, I think, which is the best, because sometimes these games work out that the dice decide it's not going to be a good teaching game, but this was a good one. I'm going to go ahead and try this pickup now, because I at least have 1 guy in scoring range. It's ugly, but if this works, and I can make my sideline cage, then yeah, now this guy can move up and be a pass target, because we've got a lineman who can make the other cage post for me. He was blocked by all these bodies in the way just a second ago. I want you tied up, I think. So now we're going to take the rest of these, hope that good things happen. There's a 3 die. My first 3 die of the game is 14. That's not something you want to happen. And this is rough, but I'm more worried about you dodging out than anything else. So we'll take that. How do you get in on this? You feel you're very competent but need a lot of polish. I do these teaching streams every once in a while. The best way to do it is to follow and be around when I'm starting them up and when I'm asking. Basically, the requirements are I need you to have TeamSpeak and be able to speak on it, and have Blood Bowl 2 and be at least familiar enough with the game that you're not going to be fumbling with UI stuff. So that's going to be the end of my stuff.
Well, I've done a tad of that at the beginning because, like,
oh, that's fine. Like,
controls,
a little bit's okay.
Bad.
A little bit is fine. So I have, in theory, 3 guys in scoring range. So I do have chances to actually score and tie this game on turn 16, which is all I want. It's all I can hope for.
Now, to win this,
Good
as the
news,
elves
everyone!
slash humans,
Bald Cloctopus, thank you for joining the team, sir.
I don't know that you can realistically stop all those receiving targets.
I'm gonna try something, and if it fails, well, I'm dead anyways.
Well, yeah,
Well,
it's at worst.
this catcher is your safest dodge here. If you want to use a re-dodge.
Good news, everyone!
Arbor
Yeah,
Top, thank you
well,
for joining the team, sir.
I'm gonna do something.
You going for the surf?
No, I don't think.
That's the crazy thing that comes to my mind. We're talking crazy, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, if I wanted to do a 2-0, I would do it, but I prefer to try and win a 1-0.
I'd be looking at probably trying to maybe do something with this Black Orc that's up the back there. Maybe running a thrower around or the catcher around for an assist.
Oh boy.
Use the down guy that's going to try and put 2 guys on the
That's
back
gotta
of
be
the
a reroll now.
back of the thrower, so that
Wow. Okay.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes happen. So, this is still not a trivial thing for me, but we can do it without any other crazy die rolls. It's going to be a GFI and a handoff is my best chance. And I don't have any rerolls, so I'm not doing any vanity blocks or anything fun like that. No one is in... we're the last turn of the game. I don't have to worry about counter score opportunities. This is going to be our best chance of doing this.
Fail.
Because the easy part...
you've made your opponent roll dice.
Damn it.
You made me roll dice, and the dice got rolled. So... GG! It was a good game. It got real weird, but we actually were able to teach lessons, so that was good.
Yeah.
That was a good instructional game, I think. 1-1.